Welcome to this episode of Raising Karen. Podcast motivates by an educated parent raising kids with special needs.
Hi guys, welcome to episode number 20 of the Raising Karen podcast. I am your host, Marsh Naidu. What better way to celebrate number 20 than to talk with Nicole Luongo? Nicole Luongo is an author, disability advocate, and a writer. Her work has been published in the Huffington Post, The Mighty, and Yahoo. She is well known in the cerebral palsy community for being an advocate for SDR or selective dorsal rhizotomy surgery. Welcome to the show, Nicole.
Hi, it's so great to be here. Thank you.
Nicole, you are well known for saying children with cerebral palsy become adults with cerebral palsy. They need help and their stories need to be told as well. Tell us about you, Nicole.
Well, I'm an adult with cerebral palsy. I'm actually going to be 47 in about a month from today. And, I just kind of fell into advocacy work once I heard about selective dorsal rhizotomy surgery. And that's how we met. And what happened was I was finding that there were so many people who did not know about the surgery. And when they found out about it, they couldn't understand why the information is not available. So I pretty much, even before I had my surgery, because I had to have a fundraiser online for myself for 6 months leading up to my surgery. And I was telling people about it even before I had surgery. But after I had the surgery and went through my physical therapy and recovered, I just was on a mission to get the word out. And I'll never forget it. I was trying to get published on the Huffington Post because at that time they had a blogger site where bloggers can contribute. Yes. But I couldn't figure out how to get in there or how to get an article published. I would try to send them pitches and I really wasn't successful. So I went straight to the top. At that time, Ariana Huffington, she created the Huffington Post. It's now she's not associated with them. She now has Thrive Global. But I sent her a message on Facebook.
Wow.
And the day that she responded to me, I cried because I told her my story and I told her, and I'm going to cry now thinking about it. I told her that I had read a book about becoming a blogger on the Huffington Post. And I said, that was a goal of mine. And she said, yes, we'd love to have you. And I cried.
Is that when you started writing Bare Your Naked Truth? Was that the start of it?
Well, that was actually the start of my blog. But back then, my gosh, how many years ago? That was a long time now. Back then, I didn't know about the surgery. Like when I started my original blog, I can't remember how many years ago. It's been a while. But when I found out about the surgery in late 2012, I still had, you're right, I did still have that extension. But because I started writing and getting published and people, they knew who I was, I transformed. I created my website all by myself. So I revamped it and wanted to make it more fitting to who I was and represent me and make it look more professional and have a place where people can go. Because I'm sure, as you know, because your son also had the surgery, people are asking you questions. And I finally said, I need to make an FAQ page or something because people are messaging me, and I would get messages from time to time from people who would say, my daughter had the surgery because of your article, adults who have had the surgery who I'm friends with, people in different countries. It was incredible. I wish I had the number of people. There's no way for me. Only Dr. Park would know if they said to him. And they have. Some people were very proud to go meet him and say, Nicole, we found out about you from Nicole. And he's very thankful for that.
Yes, ma'am. And so are we, because that's how I heard of you originally, was through the selective dorsal rhizotomy site. So
what did you do when you saw my story? Had you heard of the surgery before?
So originally we are from South Africa, right? And my therapist in South Africa had worked with Dr. Warwick Peacock, who started this technique in Cape Town. And that is who Dr. Park worked with in his, early on. And but Dr. Park was the one that refined it from a multi-level surgery to a single-level laminectomy.
That's right.
So, long story short, I mean, a talented surgeon that has given many children as well as adults, giving them improved mobility and function. How did you find out about the selective dorsal rhizotomy?
Who performed your son's surgery? Dr. Peacock?
No, Dr. Park.
I thought Dr. Park did, but
that was in 2015.
Okay, so he had it a couple years after me because I had it in 2013. You know what? The funny thing is, my mother, who passed away 3 years ago, she had Alzheimer's. So I wasn't looking for anything from me. What happened was I went online, and are you on Facebook?
Yes.
You know how sometimes you'll see things pop up. Now they're sponsored ads. It wasn't an ad, but it said that it was a caregiver contest, and they said that whoever won, you would get 10 hours of care for your loved one, and you would get to go on a cruise, which I didn't care about any of the other stuff. My family was having a hard time getting care for her and being able to afford it. Okay. So I wrote an email to some of my family members, and I said, hey, I'm thinking about you had to write something up. And before I knew it, one of my brothers, who's incredible, he nominated me, and he wrote something. And within an hour or something, I think I was in first place, or it was crazy because I started getting people to vote for me. But I would check my comments just to make sure I responded to people. Should anybody happen to even see my entry, because I didn't think anybody would. Somebody from Dr. Park's group left me a message, and get this. He said, I'm an adult with CP. I'm a caregiver for my mother who has Alzheimer's, and I'm the youngest of 13 children. I am an adult with CP. I was a caregiver for my mother at that time. She had Alzheimer's. I am the youngest of 11 children.
Oh my goodness.
So, and he said that his sister nominated him, but when he read my entry, he told her, no, don't enter me. I want this woman to win. And I said to myself, who is this person? I need to find this person. So I clicked on his name to go to his Facebook profile. And for some reason, it's weird. It wasn't working. And that really never happens to me. So I said, I'll find this guy because I can do it. I went on a search engine, put him in there, and lo and behold, it pops up that he has his own nonprofit in West New York, where he helps adults and kids get equipment they need. So I read his bio, and it mentions this surgery. I'd never, ever heard about it. Right. So I went to Dr. Park's group, just curious, honestly curious. Because you know what he told me? His name is Marty. He doesn't really like fanfare. So, his name is Marty. And he told me that he told people in the group to vote for me, and that Dr. Park voted for me. And I didn't know Dr. Park. I didn't know anybody in that group, nothing. So I went to the group and posted a short video just thanking them for whoever because, I always want to thank people. So while I was there, you've been there, you can't help but you start seeing posts, and I started reading, and I was like, what is this? Because all the stories were just incredible. And I would distinctly remember my sister said to me, well, aren't you gonna try to get it? I said, no. I said, my insurance isn't gonna let me do that, go out of state. But obviously I changed my
Right
mind
away.
because I started communicating with no less than 10 of Dr. Park's adult patients.
Wow.
Everybody was just some of them would message me and say, hey, I was a patient, and it just took off from there. I just could not believe what I was reading, not only the adult stories of adults, but the children, and how much better they were doing, and I just couldn't believe it.
What went through your thought process, Nicole? That must have been a big decision to make.
Actually, it probably was one of the easiest decisions I've ever made. The hardest thing was I'm on Medicare HMO. You can't, I didn't think I was going to be able to have it because I don't have any money. I can't afford that. But I found a way around it. But it took me months, and I almost had a nervous breakdown, honestly, doing a fundraiser, thinking I was going to have, thousands and thousands of bills and all this. But I know it was very easy for me to make that decision because all the people I talked to, they were so thankful for having the surgery, and everything they told me, it all matched with what I read about Dr. Park, what they said about Dr. Park, what they said about how the surgery changed certain things for them. And some people were so nice that they would even talk to me on the phone. And I even have relationship where I got a mentor where we just bonded quickly. He's an adult too, and I met him in person because his parents live in part of Florida where my mom was still alive, and thank God she met Patrick. And Patrick was amazing. He sat down and he said, I'm going to tell you my story. And we're still friends to this day. And I'm so grateful because it's a community of people who they just really care. And they're passionate. And, I'm just the kind of person, if I know about something that could help anybody in any way, whether it's a small way or a big way, I'm shouting it from the rooftops.
Exactly.
And here I was 39 when I found out about the surgery. And at that time, the cutoff age for adults was 40. And I thought, what am I going to do? But I did ask them, I said, look, if I can't have it. And they said, no, you're okay. Like if you're 41 or whatever. But he since that time has had such good results with his adult patients that now the cutoff age is 50.
I've seen that.
And, so yeah.
Obviously, your therapy, it was an intensive load of therapy after the surgery, but where are you now physically, Nicole? Do you feel that spasticity anymore? What is that like for you?
Well, the best way I can describe it is anybody who doesn't know me, and I have YouTube channels where people can go and see my how I walked before, how I walk now. If you did not know me, you would definitely know that I had cerebral palsy because it would smack you right in the face. You couldn't miss it. Now, there are some people who probably could not tell, but maybe if you're a trained professional or even people who aren't trained, you might see a little bit of something. But what it did for me mainly was it totally changed my gait to where I have a more normal gait. Because I used to, I don't know if they call it sway, but swing, go over this way, and then my legs would go inward a little bit because the spasticity and the way, yes. Yeah, so I walk definitely much more heel to toe motion.
What about things like musculoskeletal pain or discomfort, like back pain, knee pain, feet?
I never had any pain before.
Okay.
The only time I would have pain is if I did too much walking. And now my lifestyle doesn't require that I do a lot of walking. And if I do if I do some, I mean, I will be sore, but I think that's normal anyway because I exercise, but I'm not a walker who's like, walking around town and things like that. But I'm one of the lucky ones because a lot of people experience pain with CP. And honestly, I really didn't as a child or even as an adult.
So tell me about I Can Shine and one of the things on your bucket list.
You know what I like about you is you do your research. You do because you didn't ask me for anything beforehand, any questions, and I would have answered anything. But I got to tell you, a lot of people don't do what you do. So you're shining right now. Let me tell you, I'm honest with you there. Okay, so what happened was I've never been able to ride a two-wheel bike. And I told Dr. Park that was that was like on my bucket list. I said, well, do you think it could be possible? And he said he thought it could be. So I found this I'm trying to think of where I even found it. I researched stuff. I don't think I found it out in the group. I could have, I don't know. So there's this great nonprofit called I Can Shine. And I think there's an engineer who designed, it's how they teach what they do. They have something that they like, the two wheels that they put on the back of the bike.
Okay.
And it's different from anything else, but it's basically for adults and kids who have any kind of, physical challenge or even autism, anything where they have special needs. And they had a camp close to where my brother lives in Kansas City, and they had one in Baldwin City, Kansas. And he agreed that because he would have to drive me. It was like, I think a couple hours, like every day for 5 days. And it started on my 41st birthday. And let me tell you, that was the hardest thing that I have ever done in my life. Maybe you saw some of the videos in that blog post or that you read, because it chronicles. And if you saw my legs, you would have thought somebody literally beat me up, because I kept tilting. So I would put my leg down because I was an adult in there with all kids, which is fine. So the kids I don't think they didn't get it. Like if they were going to fall, I don't think many of them did. But me, I was like, I'm not falling. I'm putting my leg down so the spoke would get me in the leg. But anyway, so it was a 5-day journey. And by the end of it, I did ride a little bit. Now I cannot ride today on my own because I would need more help and I would need a bike. So I always tell people, like, because people just assume, oh, you could ride now. I'm like, no, I just rode for like couple minutes or whatever because I finally got it, but it would take more work. But we can say that I accomplished something that I never ever thought. And when I first did it, because they start you out in the gym,
right,
and you can't go outside until they feel you're ready.
okay.
And when I did it for the first time, I cried.
Oh.
My brother was in the stands, and I just said, I need a minute because
That's a big accomplishment.
I never thought I would. Yeah. I don't think I realized I would be as emotional as I was, but it's almost like everything just, because I didn't even realize I was doing it. Like they said, oh, there she goes. Because they have people that run behind you. And I heard them say, oh, she's like, I could hear, my brother, go, and then all of a sudden it's like, you're kind of like, you notice around you that, okay, well, I'm kind of like doing this. Yeah. So I encourage anybody who you have a child or you're even yourself or whatever, look into them because they do great work.
Now, Nicole, what I love about you is that you are not a person that sits still. You are not sedentary at all. Tell us about what you love doing. I'm not going to say anything. You say it.
Well, I don't know how much you've seen, but I'm crazy about cooking in my Instant Pot. I have 2 of them. So that's one of the things. I haven't done much lately with them. I also have the air fryer lid. So I've been using that. But if anybody, I'm on Instagram at what CP looks like. I also have a verified Facebook page. That's kind of where I post those recipes because it's fun to do. I'm a big proponent of exercise.
Yes.
So I exercise almost daily. I mean, I do take days off because it's important to rest, but that's something that I do. I'm trying to think if there anything else you might be thinking of that. Well, I have a blog and I write for my own blog.
You write from your blog. And guys, I just want to let you know, y'all can check out Nicole on NicoleLuongo.com. That's where you will find her blog at. And also, I'm really interested about finding out about you being an author and the book of poetry
Oh,
that you
thank you.
wrote.
Thank you. Actually, my book is going to be 20 years in print in 2 years. And since you can see it, I'll show you. It's called Naked Desires, and it's a poetry book. And most of the poems are love poems. But I actually, since you asked me, I was looking through and I picked one that I think would be appropriate for the times that we're going through. And honestly, this one probably, I don't know if I've ever read it before. I mean, I may have at a poetry reading, but normally, when people buy the book, they love the love poems and they comment. So, I don't know if many people have heard this one, so I could read this one for you if you'd like me
Please,
to.
I would love that.
Okay, well, in honor of you, this is called My World. Take my hand and I'll show you my world. A lovely place without death or pain. A place where everyone is treated exactly the same. You can't get to this place without me, for it is only I who can see its beauty. I want to take you to my beautiful place where nothing matters, not even money, power, or race. In my world, it is love that reigns supreme. To some, this may sound like a dream. And if it is, I'll take it because in my world, you need love to make it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
word, Nicole.
It really seems like a world away when I wrote this. I mean, I wrote the poems over a 3-year period. And now, what I do now, I mean, I don't really write poetry anymore. I write more, for content for people with cerebral palsy or.
Guys, we're going to take just a short break right now. And while we do that, I have a huge ask of you. Kindly leave us a review on your podcast provider. That allows this podcast to rank and be found by the algorithm so that other parents searching for a podcast talking to parents of kids with special needs are able to find it. So again, a review will sincerely be appreciated. We're going to head back to our conversation with Nicole, in which she talks about her motivation as well as inspiration for her project last year called Go Green for CP.
I started getting increasingly frustrated every year. March is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month, and March 25th is National Cerebral Palsy Awareness Day, in the U.S. only. And then in October, like you said, it's World Cerebral Palsy Day. But I noticed whenever those 2 days would come around, I would hear nothing about it on my for the local news, the national news. There was nothing. But yet I would hear about National Pizza Day. And I said, you know what? I'm getting tired of this. And on October 6th of 2018, actually, the first lighting I ever got was the Great Wheel in Seattle. I found a sponsor to sponsor the fee to do the lighting, and that happened. Then, you know what? I don't know what happened, but there was a fire under me. And I was going through some rough times at that time in my life, and I needed something to do, something to feel like I was contributing and doing something. So I said, you know what? If I could get one lighting, maybe I could get more lightings. And I'm telling you what, I had 30 lightings in 30 days. And I said, something's going on here. Like the universe is telling me this is working. And I had a lighting in all 50 states But at the last moment, like 2 of them didn't happen. And I didn't find out until after it takes a lot of work. You can't even imagine.
I tell you what, there's a bridge that crosses over the Mississippi from West Memphis to Memphis. So basically from Arkansas to Tennessee. And I tried to get them to light that bridge.
Which one? Because I may have contacted them. I'm sure I did because I've contacted them.
I don't know if I should say the name, but
no.
There's like a nonprofit that does the lights. And I'm like, my God, I said, you know what? I don't have that, but would you consider maybe something?
Right.
But they're like, you know what? We just can't. But hopefully this year we have enough time to kind of work towards it. But I know.
Well, listen, if you need help, just because I don't do that anymore because I did it in March and I did it in October, and it took 6 months of my life, honestly. And for World CP Day, I had lightings in 3 countries.
Wow.
In addition to and it takes so much work that I said, I love that I did that, but, I have to do other things for myself.
True.
Yeah. And I was the first person who had ever done that had never been done. There are people doing great work in the CP community, and they have gotten lightings, but one person has not ever gotten one lighting in all 50 states, I had 48 states. So
that's amazing.
And I had more than one. People can go on my website and go to the Go Green for CP, and you'll see the whole listing.
So Nicole, this is to bring about awareness of cerebral palsy. That's basically the largest, 17 million?
Yeah, it's the most common disability in childhood. Like the most common, period. But we never hear about it. It doesn't make any sense. Like you hear about, and they should still continue to, when it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, what do we hear about? Pink. We hear, and it's automatic. That's my point. Nobody has to do all this. I spent hours upon hours upon hours to do what I did. It shouldn't have to be that way.
No, it doesn't.
So that's why, for awareness. And, because how old is your son?
He is 7.
He's 7. Now, how amazing would it be for him in his lifetime to hear that on TV, that, hey, today we're celebrating National Cerebral, that would be incredible, right?
That's it. Let's just pretend here you have $10,000 in your hand. How would you spend that?
How would I spend it? Oh boy, I'm a big techie person. So, geez, you know what? I was gonna say like maybe I take a trip, but you can't go anywhere now. But if I could go somewhere, I would like to go to places that normally I wouldn't be able to go to because I couldn't afford it. Maybe I'd move. I don't know, because when you have freedom like that, what would I do? I mean, my mom's not alive anymore, so if she was, I would use it to help her, some of it to help her. Snuck that one in. It's a good one.
Let's see, what else have I got written down here? We talked about I Can Shine. What about, do you still do your ballroom dancing, or is that something?
Well, I miss it. And I used to do it even before what you saw, but yeah, the place that I was going to, it's no longer there, and I miss it. But it's kind of, for me, because I have CP, you got to find the right person or the right mix, because I'm always conscious of, maybe I'll slow the class down, and most of the time the instructors, they don't care, and the people in the class don't care, but because how you have to switch partners
from partner to partner,
and if the partner doesn't know me, I'll say, look, I have CP, and because sometimes they will, like, some of them are not very good, and they'll just be like whipping you around. I was like, I can't do that stuff now. I'm gonna fall, you know. But yeah, ballroom dancing, it's so much fun, and I could do it before surgery. A lot of people may think I couldn't dance before, but I'm dancing because of the surgery. No, that's not the case. But what happened is because of the surgery and because I don't have spasticity, certain moves are a lot easier to, just to move in your body. It's just a lot easier.
So you are a talented person, Nicole. You love you love your writing. You are a author as well as a disability advocate. Is there anything else in that mix that I haven't mentioned?
Yes, what you're doing. You know that's the number one thing that I want to do, but I just haven't kind of figured out how to do it.
Podcasting?
Yes, so you got to help me with that, and I'll help you with that bridge. Or if we can't get the bridge, we'll get something else in Tennessee.
Are you serious? Okay, I would gladly help you. I would love to do that.
I bought a microphone, but and then I got tripped up with. Now there's different ways, but with the software, and I'm like, so.
Well, listen, I will gladly show you what I know. And this is, from my perspective, this has been an awesome way for me to meet people like you, Nicole, to form connections within the community and also just to spread the message out. You know it?
And how long have you been doing it now?
Oh, my goodness, since last September. I actually got into this because of a young man that came into our lives.
I listened to that. That's such a great story. I listened to that episode.
So that's how I got into it. And believe it or not, that young man is now going on to do his own show or own podcast.
Really?
That's what it's all about. It's about community, and it's just about getting the message out there for not only kids, but for adults as well.
Oh, yeah. And if you haven't noticed, I have the gift of gab. I was in Toastmasters for 10 years. I used to give speeches. I have interviewed people on my Facebook page, and I would love to get back to that someday. I also listened to your episode with Levi and his mom.
Oh, man, those are...
And she said you were such a nice person, and she's totally right. Because, I've never met you before. I didn't have any doubt. But I told her, I said, Levi is what is he, 11 going on 40? I said, I was like that too. So she laughed.
Oh my God, Nicole, it's this absolute pleasure meeting you. And
it was great.
I would love to, I'm serious. I would love to meet you again and talk again with you. And
definitely. Listen, we're friends now. We were following, but on social media, you don't see everybody's you know how it is. You don't really get a sense of people. It's hard unless you develop a relationship with them.
Oh, me. Well, Nicole, it's been a pleasure. How can the listeners, how can they get a hold of you, or how can they follow you, Nicole?
The best way is to go to my website, Nicole, Nicole, Luongo, Luongo.com. And you'll see all my social media pages, YouTube channels, everything is there. And if you can't remember my name, then you get to one place. But I'm the same on Facebook, Nicole Luongo, but I have a What Cerebral Palsy Looks Like Facebook page. I have a Go Green for CP, but all those pages are on my website if you want to check those out. On Instagram, I am What CP Looks Like, at What CP Looks Like. I'm sure you probably put this in the blog post, probably, what you're doing.
I'm going to go in.
And on Twitter, I'm Go Green, the number 4 CP.
Nicole, it's an absolute pleasure. And until we see you again, my dear,
thank you.
See you soon.
Stay safe in Tennessee, okay?
I will, and you likewise, okay?
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Good night now.
Good night.
We have come to the end of another episode of Raising Kellen. And again, guys, please leave a review for us on your podcast host. And until we see you the next time, always remember to get to the top of your mountain. This is Marsh Naidu signing off.